Hello and welcome, dear friends. Thank you for taking a moment out of your busy day to join us here on Living Mindfully, a peaceful corner on the internet where we explore the timeless wisdom of Buddhism, the practice of mindfulness, and the art of living with awareness and compassion. Today's video is a heartfelt reflection on a powerful and transformative truth. Sincerity will conquer all. In a world overwhelmed by pretense, competition, and distractions, how can we stay true to ourselves? Why does the Buddha teach that living with honesty and authenticity is the key to inner peace and spiritual freedom? These questions may sound simple, but they cut deep into the heart of what it means to live meaningfully. Sincerity isn't just about telling the truth. It's about being real, being present, and being fearless in facing ourselves and the world without masks. In Buddhist teachings, truthfulness is not just a virtue, it is a path to awakening. It is through being honest with ourselves that we begin to truly see our desires, fears, attachments, and illusions. And it is through that clarity that wisdom and compassion naturally arise. In this video, we'll explore what sincerity really means in the context of Buddhist wisdom, why it has the power to overcome anger, deception, and even suffering, real-life stories and teachings from the Buddha that show how sincerity can transform hearts and relationships. And most importantly, how you can start living more truthfully, not for anyone else's approval, but for your own freedom. No matter who you are, no matter what your past looks like, you have the ability to live honestly and authentically starting today. There is a quiet strength in those who dare to be real, and that strength comes not from pride, but from inner peace. So if you're ready, take a deep breath with me. Let go of everything for a while. Let's sit together, breathe mindfully, and gently return to what truly matters. This is not just a video. It's an invitation to remember who you are beneath all the noise, to walk a path of kindness, truth, and presence. Thank you for being here. Let's begin. The definition of truthfulness in Buddhism. In the vast ocean of life's challenges, people often seek values that can help them live with meaning and strength. In Buddhism, one of the most essential values is truthfulness. However, truthfulness, as understood in the Buddhist tradition, goes far beyond simply telling the truth. It is a way of living, a path that leads to liberation. 1. Truthfulness, the foundation of ethics and wisdom. In the Noble Eightfold Path, the Buddha's guide to enlightenment, right speech and right view are both integral aspects. These elements indicate that truthfulness is not just about communication, but also about having the courage to see oneself clearly and honestly. The Buddha once taught in the Anguttara Nikaya, the numerical discourses, "Monks, there are 4 things that lead to the downfall of a person in the Dhamma: telling lies, harboring ill will, speaking divisively, and ignorance." Here, lying is mentioned first, highlighting how it can undermine all other virtuous qualities. When we abandon truthfulness, our spiritual foundation begins to crumble. But when we cultivate it, even if we are not yet enlightened, we are sowing the seeds of purity and awareness. 2. Living truthfully is living in harmony with the Dhamma. According to the principle of dependent origination, Paticca Samuppada, all phenomena arise due to conditions, nothing exists independently or permanently. A truthful person does not construct illusions, nor do they try to bend reality to suit their desires. They live in alignment with the Dhamma, meaning they live in accord with the way things truly are, not resisting or denying the natural flow of life. In the Sakavibhanga Sutta, the discourse on the analysis of the truths, the Buddha explains, "Truth is that which accurately describes what has actually occurred. A practitioner must clearly see the truth of suffering, the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the path leading to that cessation." In essence, being truthful means understanding and living according to the 4 noble truths. A truthful person does not sugarcoat suffering, deny impermanence, or pretend that everything will always go their way. 3. Truthfulness begins with being honest with yourself. We often think truthfulness is about not lying to others, but Buddhism goes deeper. The most dangerous lies are the ones we tell ourselves. How many times have we reassured ourselves that we're fine while carrying deep pain inside? How often do we justify anger, jealousy, or selfishness instead of honestly confronting them? True truthfulness begins when we have the courage to sit still, look inward, and say, "This is my fear. This is my attachment. This is a wound I have not healed." It's in that moment, the moment of honesty, that healing can begin. As the Buddha taught, truth sets us free. 4. A story from the scriptures. A mother's vow of truth. There is a powerful story found in various Buddhist texts about a mother named Visakha whose child was gravely ill. Despite all medicine and care, the child did not recover. In desperation, she came before the Buddha and made a vow. If since the day my child was born, I have never cared for him with selfish clinging, but only with pure love, may this truth have power. As soon as she finished her vow, the child recovered miraculously. This story shows that the power of truthfulness does not lie in words or formality, but in sincerity of intention and unconditional love. 5. Truthfulness, the key to liberation. Truthfulness allows us to stop running, to stop being swept away by delusion, to stop living behind a mask. It invites us to return to the present moment, the only place that truly exists, the only place where real peace is possible. Thus, on the spiritual path, truthfulness is not a secondary virtue. It is a prerequisite for mindfulness, for concentration, and ultimately for wisdom. Without truthfulness, there can be no insight, no true understanding, and no liberation. Why truthfulness is the power that conquers all. In this world, there are many forces that appear invincible. Wealth, power, intelligence, beauty, yet all of these are impermanent. They rise and fall, change with time, and can easily vanish. Only truthfulness, which comes from a pure heart and deep understanding, is a lasting power, capable of profound transformation. Truthfulness does not conquer by force or domination. Instead, it wins by the quiet strength of sincerity. It disarms others not with argument, but with presence. A truthful person doesn't need to defend themselves loudly or prove anything. Their calm integrity speaks louder than words. In the Samyutta Nikaya Connected Discourses, the Buddha once said, "One who lives truthfully, who does not deceive or hide their faults, will be respected by the devas and feel peace within." This reveals that truthfulness is not just an ethical quality, it's also a source of immense spiritual energy. A truthful person walks lightly. Their heart is free from the burden of lies, fear, and constant self-defense. Because of that clarity, they see life as it is and respond with stability and compassion. Truthfulness also builds trust, one of the most valuable yet fragile things in life. In any relationship, whether with family, friends, or coworkers, honesty is what creates lasting connection and mutual respect. When we are truthful, we don't live to please others or wear masks. We live in alignment with our true values and purpose. So, from a Buddhist perspective, truthfulness is not just a virtue. It is an inner strength, one that allows us to endure emotional storms, overcome hardships, and remain grounded in peace. It lights the path of mindfulness, anchors the practice of right speech and right view, and serves as a foundation for true liberation. Touching stories about the power of truthfulness. In Buddhist teachings, truthfulness is not just a moral rule to follow, it is a light that illuminates the path of the heart and mind. It is not a cold or dry fact, but a living truth full of compassion and warmth. Below are 3 simple yet deeply moving stories that demonstrate the quiet power of truthfulness, a power that can save lives, transform destinies, and even touch the hearts of the Buddhas. 1. The novice who could not lie. In a small monastery nestled deep in the mountains, there lived a young novice monk with his teacher. One day, during times of war and chaos, a bandit stormed into the monastery holding a knife and shouting loudly, "Where's the old master hiding? Tell me now, or I'll kill someone first." The novice's heart raced with fear. If he revealed where his teacher was, the teacher would be killed. But if he lied, he would break the monastic rule of truthfulness. In that moment, the novice quietly sat down, closed his eyes, and remained completely silent. He did not speak, did not point, did not argue. His silence confused the bandit. After shouting for a while, the bandit angrily left. The master was saved. And the novice wept not out of fear, but out of gratitude for the power of truthfulness and compassionate silence. In this story, the novice neither used lies nor caused harm. It was this wordless truthfulness, beyond language, that saved a life. Sometimes, silence itself speaks louder than any words. 2. The king who gave up his throne for a promise. King Mahajanaka, a figure from Buddhist legends and one of the Buddha's past lives, was once a young prince. After surviving a shipwreck at sea, he made a vow. "If I survive, I will give up everything to live truthfully and seek enlightenment." He survived and later became king. For 7 years, he ruled wisely and brought peace and prosperity to his kingdom. Yet he never forgot his vow. Despite the power he held, he chose to relinquish his throne, handing it over to a worthy successor, and retreated to the forest to live as a monk. The king's truthfulness was not just in his words, but in keeping his promise, even when it meant sacrificing his kingdom and power. This story inspires millions. Truthfulness is not easy. But once embraced, it can transform one's entire life and legacy. 3. The poor girl who offered her vegetables to the Buddha. One beautiful morning at the monastery where the Buddha was teaching, countless people came bearing gifts: gold, incense, exquisite food. Among the crowd, no one noticed a poor country girl, small and frail, with rough hands hardened by labor. She had nothing valuable to offer except a simple bunch of vegetables she had grown herself on her barren land. Humbly, she approached the Buddha, bowed her head, and said, "Honored Buddha, I have no precious gifts. Only this bunch of vegetables, the fruits of my hard work and honest heart. I offer it with all my truthfulness." The Buddha smiled gently and accepted the offering. Turning to his disciples, he said, "This humble gift holds a heart full of truth. It is worth more than hundreds of grand feasts without sincerity." The story silenced the crowd. They realized that the true value of an offering lies not in its material worth, but in the intention behind it. Truthfulness is the most precious gift one can give. These stories are more than mere legends. They are beacons shining through the darkness of our times. In a world increasingly filled with deception and calculation, truthfulness, whether silent, simple, or humble, still has the power to move hearts, save lives, and nourish souls. Because truthfulness does not need to shout to prove itself. It shines quietly, like a flower blooming in stillness, its fragrance lasting forever in the hearts of those who witness it. How to nurture honesty in today's life. Honesty is not only a beautiful virtue in Buddhism, but also the foundation for a meaningful and peaceful life. However, in today's fast-paced world full of temptations and pressures, maintaining honesty is not always easy. So how can we nurture and sustain honesty in every moment? Here are 4 important practices to help you cultivate honesty starting right now. 1. Practice mindfulness daily. Mindfulness is the art of fully being present in the here and now. When you practice mindfulness, you not only observe the world around you, but also become aware of what your mind is thinking, feeling, saying, and doing. Mindfulness helps us awaken and recognize the patterns of ignorance, the social roles we unconsciously play. Without mindfulness, it's easy to get swept away by negative emotions, false words, or improper actions without even realizing it. For example, when facing difficulties, instead of reacting out of anger or telling lies to avoid conflict, mindfulness allows you to pause, clearly see your true feelings inside, and choose to act with honesty. You can cultivate mindfulness through meditation, slow breathing, or simply by paying full attention to whatever you are doing in each moment. Even small acts like washing your hands, eating, or walking. 2. Courageously speak the truth with compassion. Honesty does not mean being rude or hurting others. In Buddhism, honesty is always paired with compassion and skillfulness. To courageously speak the truth means not fearing difficult conversations or hiding the truth. But when you speak honestly, you should do so with compassion, using gentle, respectful words that help the other person understand without causing harm. For instance, if you need to point out someone's mistake, instead of being blunt or harsh, choose your words carefully so that the person can hear the truth clearly and be encouraged to grow. The combination of honesty and compassion creates an invisible power that helps people accept truth more easily and become better versions of themselves. 3. Be honest in failure and pain. Everyone experiences failure, weakness, and pain. Honest people do not avoid or hide these realities. They sincerely acknowledge their mistakes, faults, and emotions without self-deception. Being honest about failure is a crucial step toward growth. Instead of blaming others or circumstances, you accept that failure is an essential part of learning and development. When you are honest about your emotional wounds, you can find ways to heal and let go of suffering. On the contrary, if you deny, suppress, or lie to yourself, the pain will grow deeper and cause more harm. Buddhism teaches that only through sincere recognition and acceptance of ourselves can we move toward liberation and true happiness. 4. Meditation, reflecting on the inner self. Meditation is a powerful tool to illuminate and recognize the layers of falsehood and pretense hidden deep inside the mind. When meditating, you focus on your breath or a chosen object of attention while calmly observing all arising thoughts and feelings without judgment. Through meditation, you become aware of many untruths you previously overlooked, lies you tell yourself, hidden fears, illusions about yourself and the world. With the light of mindfulness shining in, those layers of falsehood gradually dissolve, making space for clear and genuine truth. Meditation helps us not only recognize honesty in every moment but also nurture a pure and peaceful heart amid the busyness of life. Honesty as the path to liberation. In Buddhism, honesty is not just a moral virtue. It is a direct path to liberation from suffering and inner turmoil. When we live honestly, we free ourselves from the burdens of pretending, lying, and deceiving both others and ourselves. Honesty allows us to see things clearly, to face ourselves and reality without distortion or illusion. In contrast, ignorance, known in Buddhism as avijja, is the root of suffering. When we are ignorant of the truth, we tend to deceive ourselves with false ideas, clinging to illusions about who we are and how life works. But honesty brings clarity. It is like a light that shines into the darkest corners of the mind, revealing hidden fears, attachments, and falsehoods. As we live truthfully in our thoughts, speech, and actions, we gradually free ourselves from the defilements of greed, hatred, and delusion. The Buddha taught that the path of truth is the middle way. It is not a path of extremes or false appearances, but one of balance, compassion, and liberation. When you are honest with yourself, you no longer live in fear of being exposed or in anxiety over maintaining a false image. Your heart becomes light, free, and peaceful. Honesty also lays the foundation for cultivating compassion and wisdom, the two essential elements of enlightenment. Without honesty, wisdom cannot flourish because wisdom depends on seeing things as they truly are. Without honesty, compassion cannot be genuine, as it would be tainted by selfish motives and deceit. Therefore, honesty is not merely a moral choice. It is a spiritual path, a way to inner freedom, peace, and the ultimate awakening. Living truthfully is living freely. On the journey to find true meaning and lasting happiness, we often take many turns. Some of us chase after money, success, or recognition. Others get caught up in the roles we play, the masks we wear, and the things we say just to fit in. But in the end, only truthfulness can open the door to real peace within. Being truthful means living without pretending. It means you don't have to remember who you're supposed to be because your words, your thoughts, and your actions are all in harmony. A truthful person isn't perfect, but they're brave enough to be real, to honor their feelings, values, and choices. In Buddhism, truthfulness isn't something lofty or out of reach. It's present in every breath, every step, every look, and every word. When you live truthfully, fear fades away. There's no worry about being found out, no inner conflict, no guilt. You live freely as yourself, fully and peacefully. Maybe you've wondered, in a world full of fakeness, isn't being honest just asking to be hurt? But the truth is, genuine honesty is never a weakness. It quietly plants seeds of trust, builds real connections, and brings a powerful kind of energy. One that makes people feel safe, seen, and inspired just by being around you. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to choose truthfulness in each moment. When you can say, "I'm not okay," instead of forcing a smile. When you speak the truth with compassion. When you admit your mistakes without shame. These are small but powerful steps on the path of liberation and inner transformation. Living truthfully is a lifelong journey. You may stumble, and there may be days you're tempted to go back to the masks. But always remember, every time you choose to be real, you move closer to true freedom, a freedom no one can give or take away. And on that journey, don't forget to recite the Buddha's name. Even a single mindful repetition of Namo Amitabha Buddha or Namo Shakyamuni Buddha, spoken from the heart, can calm your mind and bring you home to a place of deep peace. Chanting the Buddha's name is not just a spiritual practice. It's like a cool, clear stream that refreshes the soul when life feels overwhelming or uncertain. Chant the Buddha's name to calm your mind. Chant the Buddha's name to return to your true self. Chant the Buddha's name to live more honestly and peacefully each day. Thank you for staying with us all the way to the end of this video. If you found meaning in what was shared, please subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with someone you care about. Your support means the world to us, and it gives us the strength to continue sharing Buddhist teachings and mindful reflections that can help make life more beautiful, more peaceful, and more authentic. May you always walk with courage, live gently, and stay true to who you really are. And remember, even just one mindful breath, one honest word, or one moment of chanting can lead you back to peace. We'll see you in the next video.